Shivaya. So let's do the Shanti mantras. So in the Shanti mantra, which is given on page 8 and 9, the Purnamadav Purnamidam we will chant at the end. So the other ones we will chant in the beginning. So that's the only change I would like to make. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krito Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bhed Vibhagine Yomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. So we'll begin the class today with an introduction to all the people who are here. So what I'd like to do is we're going to pass a microphone to you. If you could just spend a few minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, giving your name, where are you from, generally what you do in life, what is your present occupation, and then also a little bit of how long you have been studying Vedanta. So just 4 things, so in 2 or 3 minutes. So I would very much like to get to know you and for each one of you to know each other. So if we can start the class with that, I would appreciate it. Thank you. We can start from the back at this end, yes.
My name is Ashwin Shah. I'm from Scottsdale, New York. I'm a retired engineer, retired for the last 20 years. And this is my first experience with studying of Vedanta.
And have you had some exposure to Vedanta before?
I had some exposure to books on Gita, but not Vedanta as a whole.
Okay, wonderful. I'm sorry, I missed your name. Was Ashwin Shah?
Ashwin Shah.
Okay, good.
Namaste everyone, my name is Shankar. I'm a student of Guruji Vijay Kapoor ji since early 2000. I've been learning formally Vedanta from Guruji since 2000. I'm a semi-retired electrical engineer and I'm from California. Thank you.
I'm Surin Bhargava and I've been attending Vijayji's classes since 2011 and have been attending Puja Swamiji and Swami Chinmayananda's classes since 30-40 years. I live in Fremont, Bay Area. I'm a retired electrical engineer, retired in 2011. Thank you.
Namaste. My name is Ila Sukhadia. I'm from Staten Island, New York. By profession, I'm a medical doctor practicing pediatrics. I'm retired. And I've been coming to the ashram since its inception for many, many years and attending seminars and courses as the time permits. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rosa Aguiwal. I'm from Queens, and I'm a wife. I'm first time do Vedanta.
Namaste everyone. My name is Bajanath Agiwal, originally from Rajasthan. We live in Queens, New York City. I coming Artha Vidya since 2011, but taking a camp in 2021, and then after that I take a lot of camp here.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your first name.
Bajanath
Vaidinath.
Agiwal.
So, have you studied any texts in the last 12 years?
Yes, here in a camp.
In the camp itself?
Yeah, I attend a lot of camps, start 2021.
Okay,
So-
wonderful.
So I take many camps here.
Okay.
And thank you.
Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Sudha Tomar. I'm from Fremont, California. I've been a homemaker for last 20 years, and I have been introduced to Vedanta in 2014. Since then, I have been attending Vijayji's classes and looking forward to more classes. Thank you.
Namaste everyone, my name is Sujata Dave. I'm from Dallas, Texas, recently. I am a retired project management professional, and I have been exposed to Vedanta, Gita and Upanishads for 30-some years, but Advaita Vedanta particularly by Sri Vijay Ji since about 2007.
Good morning, Hari Om. My name is Satish Jalota. I have been associated with Vijayji since December 2012 as a result of his ad in India West, full page ad in India West newspaper. Before that, the Ishwaras just was contained up to temples only. It's only after attending Vijay's classes that elaboration took place about the Almighty, what all this Shiksha is all about. Before that, we just limited to the temples only. So anyway, I have gained a lot in spiritualism. I gave up my full-time job in 15 and started following Vijay's talks, lectures, and studying at home, and we are here today. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, I'm Pame Kapoor, and right after we got married, I think a year or 2 years later, Vijay met Swami Chinmayananda, and then after a few years, in 1975 actually, we both met Swami Dayanandji, and since then our lives were changed. We studied with him for 2.5 years at the ashram, Sandipani ashram in Northern California, and since then it's been just wonderful, and especially to come here to this ashram, it's absolutely just, I always look forward to it. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Krishnan Ramesh, retired mechanical engineer, maybe partially retired. We are from Rockville, Maryland. I have been a big fan of Sri Rudram for a number of years. Did not have any formal learning, mostly from listening and reciting. Last year, Kapoorji's class on Sri Rudram brought us here, and since then we are back here, and that is the first exposure to Vedanta per se for us. And again, we were looking forward to this class too. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alamelu Ramesh. I'm Krishnan's wife. So we both attended Kapoorji's class last year, and that's our first exposure to Vedanta. We've been, we like going to temples and recite things. That's different way, and we really enjoyed the class, and we're looking forward. I'm a semi-retired electrical engineer, so I see more electrical engineers. I'm happy.
Yeah, I know, that's right.
Thank you. My name is Chandrasekhar Dulam. I'm also from Fremont, California. I've been started with Guruji in 2017 when we moved to Bay Area. On the first day when we came, one of my friends said that let's go to Guruji's Bhagavad Gita class, and that's when it started, and I've been going every weekend since then. So that's my experience with Vedanta since that point. Everything I know is what Vijayji taught me. I'm a financial advisor with Merrill Lynch, and I work out of Palo Alto. Looking forward to this new text that I've never studied before. Thank
you. Namaskar. I'm Nitika Sood from New Jersey. I'm working in IT, and I got associated after I got married, and always look forward to come here and attend classes. Thank you.
Pranam Guruji. My name is Harsh Sood. I'm in IT field also. So after 20 years of working, I've taken a break for a year, and I probably will start something of my own, but not sure, or rather go into Vedanta and full-time study. So I'm looking forward to be inspired by your teachings today, this week. And my association with Gurukulam has been since 2002. I've attended a lot of classes with Swami Tadatmananji in New Jersey. I've taken 2 cycles of Bhagavad Gita class, and then I've attended classes with Swami TV on Saddarshanam and Atma Bodha.
Pranam Guruji, my name is Suman Sharma, and I've been coming to the Gurukulam for over a decade now, but I more regularly go to the Arshabodha Center, the one in Somerset, New Jersey. I have lived in Princeton, New Jersey for past 15 years, recently moved to Southampton, Pennsylvania. I'm a business analyst by profession. Thank you.
Namaste Vijayji. I'm Naresh Vainatheya. I'm from New Jersey. Retired last year. I've been associated with the Arshavidya Gurukulam, actually very fortunate to be associated with the Gurukulam for the last 22 years, having been exposed to Bhagavad Gita, home study course, and other Vedantic texts from Puja Swamiji and his acharyas as well.
Namaste Vijayji. My name is Sakshi Vanavadia, and I guess I've always been a seeker, I can say that, and I've not been exposed to Vedant much. This is my first time, but I've been exposed to Bhagavad Gita since childhood. My mom has been a very big influence spiritually in my life, and I have a teacher with whom I learn Bhagavad Gita, and I also facilitate Bhagavad Gita classes for last 5-6 years. But I'm really looking forward to delving deeper into Vedant and discovering the truth. Yeah.
Hari Om, everyone. My name is Rani Goel, and I'm from Menlo Park, California. I was for close to 40 years a marketing executive at Hewlett-Packard and SAP, but I consciously gave up my job because I wanted to pursue sadhana and Vedantic studies and have more time for that. I have raised a family in the Bay Area, so I have children and grandchildren who live close by. I was exposed to, I started with Vijayji back in 2005, 2006, I think, when he was starting to teach Sanskrit. So I actually started with him because I wanted to relearn Sanskrit with Sanskrit class. And then he started teaching Bhagavad Gita, so I took Bhagavad Gita. So since that time, I have been introduced to Vedanta and have taken several texts with Vijayji, Tattva Bodha, Mandukya Upanishad, Rudram, and several other texts. And now I'm very much looking forward to Aparokshanubhuti. I do listen to other Vedantic teachers. We loved Swami Vidyatmananji whenever he visited the Bay Area to attend his retreats, and other Swamijis who have come from Arshavidya Gurukulam. And sometimes I listen to some other Swamijis as well on YouTube and find it very peace-giving to me and Shanti Pradayak, I would say. I am a big proponent of Hindi and Sanskrit, and I love lectures that are in Hindi because I feel they are very much closer to the texts that were written by these rishis and maharishis. It's closer to the vernacular language in which they taught and they read. So that's all about. Anybody else?
That was very good. Thank you so much. I think I'm still not vague about your first names completely, but I would like to pursue it so that in the next couple of days I know you personally. What I'd like to do now is for you to just come and please take a copy of these books. So please come, and those of you that can understand Hindi can take the Akhandananda ji's books also, but at least take Swami Viditatmananda's books. Please come. Yeah. I know. I can see why it was taking his long time. This is quite an undertaking. Wow. English is that? Yes. Oh, perfect. Just made it. Sure. Yeah, there's more. Please take. Hindi book, yeah. Okay, please do. No, take it. It's all meant for that. Yeah. So a few words about the text, the naming of the text, and the name of the text itself gives a very good explanation as to what it contains. I saw Swami Viditatmananda's so if you look at this one page, he has given a very interesting and a very appropriate meaning to the word Aparokshanubhuti. He says, true understanding of the self. So here, the word true is an important one, because sometimes what happens is that you study a text where you get a fairly good idea of what the message of Vedanta is, what is it that they want you to do, and so on. But some doubts in the mind are still persisting. I think I can best depict this phenomena in the following way. Suppose you are sitting, and by the way, this particular example that I'm going to give or anything, these are not generated by me. These are all from the various sources, but you pick and choose to see which one hits the spot right on, and you remember those words. So none of these are something unique to me or anything like that. It's all from acharyas. But my job is to make sure that in terms of my thinking, these examples become very real to me and therefore hopefully to you. So this example about the true understanding of the self or the lack thereof. Okay? So both of them are important. So the example is this. You're sitting there on your own outside your home somewhere, and perhaps your house is in a suburb, so there's a lot of land around you. And from a distance you see a person coming. Now, if the person is very distant, you cannot tell whether even if it's a human being or an animal, number one. Then as the person comes a little closer, you can do that viveka. This is not an animal, this is a human being. But you cannot tell whether it's a man or a woman. Okay? Person comes a little closer. Now some additional viveka is done. You say, this looks like a man. This is not a woman. And from, even though you can, sometimes very hard to tell from the clothes and so on, but now you're able to do that viveka. This is a man. But you don't know who that is. It is a man coming closer, walking closer. All of a sudden, you say, oh my goodness, this is my friend John. I know he was talking about visiting me. I could not tell. So now you get up from your seat and you move towards it, you wave towards him, and you say, hi John. This is the story. Now, our understanding of the self is something like that. How it can happen to yourself, because here it is somebody else who's coming, so that one is understandable, but how it can happen to yourself is also explained very well in some other examples that we will do later on. But for now, this phenomena of kind of knowing who I am is there. So you can say this is an introduction to Vedanta, and so to Bhagavad Gita, which says Atma never dies. Arjuna, what are you talking about? They are Navinashi tam viddhi. No, it is not possible to do that. So you look at it and so on, and you say, yeah, that's an interesting thing. I don't know how that will be. I don't feel that way. My Atma is not like that. I am still a jiva, subject to, birth and death. And you, at the same time, you have some shraddha. So the shraddha says, just like, for example, you have shraddha in your eyes when the person is approaching. Because you are now trusting your eyes completely. The eyes don't lie. The eyes simply say, hey, I see something. Then the mind has to now figure out who that is. So the eyes are simply working as a pramana, a proof that there is a person coming. And so the Shraddha towards, you cannot say that my eyes completely lie me. I don't trust my eyes at all. That doesn't happen. Because the eyes, unless there is a big issue, like for example, supposing you have a stone fruit. My wife has, she's an interior designer, and she gets these beautiful fruits sometimes that are very hard to tell whether they're real or not. And I tell you, I can invite you to our living room, and if I give you one of those fruits, your eyes will not be able to tell whether this is a real, fruit or is it a stone fruit. But the eyes don't lie. So you have Shraddha towards your eyes. You don't disbelieve it. It's just that when you see something, your doubts are still there. So similarly, when you listen to Vedanta, it's not as though you don't have Shraddha. If you don't have Shraddha, then you will not even be coming to this place. You'll say, I don't know what the Vedas mean. I don't think they may, I think I'm better off becoming completely different. Then you don't have Shraddha. But if you have some idea that what is being talked about is something which is very old, very generic, very authentic, but I don't understand it yet. So you have Shraddha, just like you have Shraddha towards your eyes. You have Shraddha. Along with that, you have a lot of doubts. Valid doubts. Valid doubts. It's like, if John cannot tell you, hey, I've been walking for the last half a mile, couldn't you tell me who I was? No, because I could not definitively see who you were. Because all of a sudden something clicks. So that clicking can only come if the conditions are right. Your doubts are removed, your Shraddha now fructifies into knowledge. This is the meaning of Aparokshanubhuti. So what Aparokshanubhuti does is it tries to tell you the process by which your doubts will melt away to a point where your understanding of the self becomes so clear that it is no longer a question of whether it is this or that, whether this person coming up is a woman or a man. He's a man, but I don't know which person that. None of those doubts are there. It, in words of Swami Dayananji, I remember this so well, he used this word, clinched. You clinch the understanding very clearly. After that, if somebody says, are you sure? There's no question about that. I know John, he's been my friend for a long time, and he knows where I lived, and he was saying, one of those days I'm going to come and visit you. That's him. Are you sure? Don't ask me stupid questions like that, okay? I know he is John. So similarly, so this is what is called Aparokshanubhuti. So this word Aparoksha is also a extremely accurate word in our Shastra for the following reason. So if you look at things around you, they can be classified in two segments. One is Pratyaksha and one is Paroksha. So Pratyaksha means one which is subject to your sense organs. You can see them right now. You can touch them. You can feel it. You can smell it. All of those sense organs are right in front of you. This is what is called Pratyaksha. Akshaprati gamyate iti apratyaksha. One which is right in front of your eyes. Aksha means eyes, but it's a upalakshana for all the 5 organs. So this is what is called pratyaksha. Things that you see at the moment, we see what's in the room, this is all pratyaksha. Then there is paroksha. Aparoksha means what is happening in Washington DC, for example, at this moment. That is not pratyaksha. It can become pratyaksha if you go to Washington DC, but right now Washington DC is paroksha. So these are the 2 segments, 2 classifications where our experiences are in our life. The question is, the Atma that we talked about, you. Atma means I, you. Is it pratyaksha or is it paroksha? It's certainly not pratyaksha. You can. Is it normal to say that that I am in front of me? Does it make any sense to say I can see me? It is not an object to be seen. You cannot see it. Okay, fine. It's not pratyaksha. That means there is only two segments. One is pratyaksha, one is paroksha. So if it is not pratyaksha, then it must be paroksha. That is even more ludicrous. That I am not here. This, by the way, is a very important thing that we are going to go into more detail about pramana and some technical things that we will. I don't want to go into that right now because we will see all of that later on. But the point is that it is idiotic to say that I am paroksha. It is equally idiotic to say that I am pratyaksha. Therefore, a special word meant for the self called aparoksha. Aparoksha means not paroksha. It doesn't say it is pratyaksha, but it says it is not distant. Beautiful. The only way you can present the Atma, only way. And Vedanta does it. It says paroksha, not paroksha, aparoksha, but not pratyaksha. This is the meaning of the word aparoksha. Now let's come to the second word, which is called Anubhuti. This is a very interesting word and a very important word, and it's important to understand it properly. This is where some of the translations in other languages do not convey, like I was talking about the Adhyatmika Vidya last night. This is another one of those words which is easily misleading if not understood properly. Normally, you will all agree the word Anubhuti would mean experience. Experience. And this is a very common thing that I remember I used to, my father and I, my dad was not as, he was a mining engineer in India, and one of the most truthful, wonderful people I've met in my life, but he was not spiritual. He didn't, he was skeptical about God, and he had some interest in it, but it was never satisfied. And so he and I would always talk about it. Even when I got into Vedanta, we would have a lot of discussions. And I was never able to really get him to see that. So he used to tell me He says, well, you know what you're doing, which is very common. He says, you know, when I started studying with Swami Dayanandji, he says, you know, you're all reading the text right now. You don't have any experience. You don't have anubhava. You don't have anubhava, which is true. I didn't. For a long time, I did not have any anubhuti. Only it's coming slowly now. So his translation of the word anubhava was experience. Experience meaning that you are sort of reading some things factually as a concept, but you don't feel it yourself, isn't it? This is its normal meaning. And all of the people believe this way, that I don't have the experience. And Swami Dayananda used to say that. He said, you know, is this something like fixing a car? Or, you know, learning how to cook? So he had really explained this long time ago. He said, when you are when you're supposing a car mechanic, or you're learning how to cook, you can read like the cookbook, you know. So you say, you do this, and then you add so much salt, and then you stir it, and do all of this, or you're doing a mechanic. That is all textual knowledge. But it isn't until you start cooking that you have the experience of cooking, or it isn't until you start fixing up cars, really. Then you will say, oh my gosh, this is not what I thought it was. It is something much easier or more difficult. So Swami Dayananda used to say that this is not theory or practice. It is not textual knowledge or experience. But I had not really completely understood it. I mean, I believed in him, but I didn't know what he meant by it and so on. Slowly, as I started to study more, and especially with lots of other acharyas like Maheshanandji and Akhandananda and so on, and all the help from Swami Vedanandaji, Swami Viditatmanandaji, what it dawned on me, and I think Swami Maheshanandji was the one that really clarified most for me, is that you always have experience. You cannot say, I don't have the experience. Life is nothing but a series of experiences. That's all it is, isn't it? It's one kind of experience or the other. So you cannot say, I don't have experience. It's like saying, I'm not alive. That is incorrect. We have experience all the time. The question is this experience of the type that is mentioned by our Shastra or not? That is the right way to categorize it. I don't. My experience is very predictable, very reasonable, that I am a human being with all of its parameters. All human being means I am only here at this point. I am aging. My body is starting to fall apart. My mind is vulnerable to being upset. All those kinds of things. Don't know how long I'll be here. I want to make sure that my life here, I am okay with friends and children and neighbors and so on and so forth. That's it. This is the definition of my experience. So the whole set of experiences that define jivatvam. Jivatvam means jiva is a person who is endowed with a body-mind complex. It's endowed with that. And it's you can be either an animal or so, but right now we are human beings. So human being, any person who has a sukshma sharira, has a mind, is called a jiva. That means it's moving, it's alive, This is called a jiva. So the jivatvam is the experience of myself. This is all I have. We are all varied from one place to one time to the other, one person to the other. Somebody may be happier, the other one may be less happy. But more or less, our overall definition of an experience is that of jivatvam. It's an experience all the time. It's not as though I don't have the experience. Then Shastra says, you're making a mistake. This is what we're going to talk about in more detail. It says, my dear sir, my dear madam, you are making a huge mistake. Your experience of taking yourself to be a jiva is totally wrong. You need to change your experience. How do I change the experience? This is what we're going to talk about. How we do it is a different thing. But the experience of the reality of the experience is what Shastra says. So listen to this carefully, because this is what we are going to really use as one of the fundamentals of the whole Aparokshanubhuti. And it's given in the word itself. I find that it's very accurately defined, Aparokshanubhuti. So I'm just almost to the end of that. So then you will hopefully have a very clear idea of what the book is all about. We've already talked about Aparoksha. Now we're talking about Anubhuti. Here is the meaning of Anubhuti. Anubhuti is, like, again I would say, it does not mean experience. You know what it means? The word anu is important in defining the accuracy of Anubhuti. Anu means to follow. The word anu, which is a prefix, denotes following something. Not independently doing something, but following something. Okay? Now that we have defined the prefix anu, now we can define the whole word called Anubhuti. Anubhuti is that experience which follows the advice of the Shastra. So now if you want to be, this is where I was telling you about the weakness of translating into English. If you were to translate into English, let's just say we have to translate into English, and Swamiji has done a very good job of saying a true understanding of the self. Good enough for us. But if you were to really look at what the understanding of the word Aparokshanubhuti is, it will be of the self following the experience as it is enunciated by the Shastra. This would be the meaning of the word Anubhuti. So in short, we can now go to the next topic. In short, the Anubhuti means having an experience which is consistent with what the Shastra says. This is an important thing to see. So Anubhuti should not be, if somebody asks you what is Anubhuti, if you say that means the experience of the self, you have failed the test. You see that? This is what we should be very clear about. The self is always in the form of an experience. And the only thing, as we will see, is it an experience wrongly associated with things that I have nothing to do with? Or is it an experience which is accurate to what the Shastra says? This is the meaning of the word Aparokshanubhuti. I think we have spent a whole one just defining the word itself. Anyway, this is an important thing to see. That's what Anubhuti is, and that's what the advanced form of the word Aparokshanubhuti is. Okay. So let's go on. So here, let me in fact open this book up and see how he has segmented it. Oh, wonderful. My God, 629 pages. So wonderful. So let me give you, in this, for the teaching of this course for this week, some general segmentation that I had made up. Hopefully it's, and I've seen it's not in conflict with what Swamiji has pointed out. He's done it in much more detail. So, I'll very quickly go through the segmentation. You don't have to write it down, but just to give you an idea of how we are going to proceed. Okay? As I mentioned last night, even though this is an advanced text, it still follows the basic structure of teaching, which is Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. Those are kept. So, I have 10 different segments that I'm going to teach this in. The first one is importance of the qualifications of the person. Importance of qualifications. This is what is called adhikaritvam. So eligibility. So this is number one. Then the second one is importance of vichara. Vichara means thinking. Importance of vichara. Again, a very important, one of the most important suggestions by the Shastra. Importance of vichara. So here it doesn't mean importance of anything else at this point, but that of using your mind to make the progress. Importance of vichara. Then the third segment is, we talk about ignorance, self-ignorance. What does it really mean? What is it, how does it express itself? How does it appear in your thinking? What is really ignorance? Very beautiful, the way Adi Sankara has provided this section. So what does self-ignorance really mean? The fourth one is, what is the opposite of that? What does self-knowledge mean? What does it really mean? We use it rather when, I'm going for self-knowledge. And if the other person also says, okay, I understand. That's it. Then you go on to something else. No. We're going to pause and see what does it really mean in real terms for me. That's number 5. And that's number 4. Then number 5 is a more advanced form of vichara based on understanding of what ignorance and knowledge is. So some further details about vichara, thinking. That's the next one. The one after that is the nature of creation. All of a sudden in the middle of that, how did creation come about? This all happens to be a very important aspect of. So I think what will happen is that we are going to give you bits and pieces to construct a jigsaw puzzle that becomes very clear to you. So even in that situation where John was approaching, what is happening is you are fulfilling the jigsaw puzzle. You are seeing somebody moving. That's one part of the puzzle. You are seeing somebody who's tall, not like a dog. That's another piece of the puzzle. And your mind is processing all these, and then you'll say, yes, it's a human being, but it looks like a man, not a woman, another piece of the puzzle. So you're putting all these pieces of the puzzle together, unknowingly. This happens in your already. Then when the piece of the puzzle is complete enough, it looks like a picture that you can identify. It's exactly what happens. So here, the creation is a piece of the puzzle which is creating some questions and doubts in your mind. And so how that impacts you also will be presented as a separate topic. So this is the nature of creation, number 6. Then the number 7 would be now graduating up to Mananam. So up to now this is only Shravanam. Only Shravanam. And I remember Swami Paramarthananda from Chennai making this very clear. So I think I was reading one of his, either listening to him or seeing one of his texts long time ago. And he had defined this word Shravanam. And it finally really brought it down to me. He says Shravanam does not mean just attending a few classes. It means a sustained inquiry into the complexities of what I consider to be complexities, which is simple, but I make it very complex, over a period of time under a competent teacher. This is what Shravanam is. You have to read a number of books, talk to a number of people, have lot of thinking, and until then your Shravanam is not complete. So it is not saying I just did a couple of classes and now I think I know Vedanta. Now I just, by the way, this is what I think about. I mean, I'm sorry, this is what I hear about. There are a lot of students who had attended a couple of classes from me, and then I meet them sometimes. I said, I don't see you anymore. How are you doing? He says, well, I think I know Vedanta now. I just have to put that into practice. I'd like to talk to them and say, sir, this is not the way it should be done. I know what you did, and unless you really augmented it with some other things, which they didn't, you're not done yet. You're not ready for the practice. What happens is you start putting it into practice, and then you say, all the things that I learned are useless to me, because I'm still having a lot of problems in my life. I look at people differently. And so what is all this Vedanta? Well, let me try something else. This is what happens. Shravana means a thorough exposure until you say exactly what I think I understand all aspects of it. You still have not applied to your life yet. That comes in the Mananam part. But at least the Shravanam is complete. So that's why out of these 10 sections, I would say that 6 out of them is really Shravanam. Then is Mananam. So that's number 7. Then comes the last part, which is Nididhyasanam. And so there will be a couple of sections on that, and then we will summarize the whole thing. So again, in summary, importance of qualifications. What does self-ignorance mean? What does self-knowledge mean? Next level of vichara, nature of creation, importance of mananam, steps in sadhanam, obstacles in sadhanam. So sadhanam here means nididhyasanam. So steps of nididhyasanam, and then the obstacles that occur, and finally the summary of the teaching. So these are the 10 steps that I intend to take, and it's already 10 o'clock. So we will stop here, and again, I think the way we would do that is, and unless you have some quick questions about what we talked about, we can certainly pause and take your questions. Otherwise, please keep your questions until we have satsang. And by the way, I talked to Shuddhatmaji. Swamiji will be here from Canada back on Thursday. So hopefully we will have him do the satsang on Thursday night and Friday night. And Saturday, of course, we are leaving. So he will be here for 2 nights. All right, so we'll close the class with Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Did you have a question? I'm sorry? Oh yeah, please do, please. You do it. You do the announcement. Go, you do it. No, I'm done. Yeah.
Quick announcement. We will do yoga. I know we have a lot of talent here. We got 3 yoga teachers here. So there's no resource of teachers. We'll do yoga from 3 to 3:45, 45 minutes. I won't keep it 1 hour because that's the right amount of time that we'll spend. And it'll be in the studio, yoga studio. And you're all welcome to come. And also, if there are other people around here who would be interested, do inform them. And you're all welcome. And the yoga will be simple yoga for relaxation. And I would call it a name as Arsha Vidya Yoga. And just yoga for relaxation. So it will cover some of the meditation steps of breathing that Guruji mentioned this morning. We'll follow up on that, and we'll do some practice on Anulom Vilom, Kapal Bhati, and all those simple things. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all, and on behalf of other 2 teachers. Thank you. 3 o'clock in the yoga studio. I think in the map it's shown there. It's somewhere on the 2nd floor. It's further down here, no? Yeah.
The parking lot and
parking lot.